My picture up there for you all. Hello, hello. Hey, Nancy, always a pleasure. So I am running on a little bit of a delay in what I'm doing here and what all you all are going to see. So there's about a 7-second delay, I think, there. But can I just get somebody to comment real quick on how is the video quality coming through and how is my audio? Just so I know that that's coming through well. I always like to do a quick test. And again, there's a 7-second delay, give or take, probably. Yeah, I'll type it into the comment as well. Hey, George. Thank you, sir. All right, so we'll give it a little bit longer for everyone to join. I am also using a brand new streaming service. So I've been trying to be as much productive as I can, or just distracting of my mind a little bit recently. And we'll go into some of those details, but this is a brand new streaming software that I have not used before. And I think this is only the 5th time I've ever gone live, so it's still something that is very new to me. So thank you all for hanging in there with me and seeing how this is going to go. But the new tool has some pretty cool functionality in it on what I can do with live streaming and take everything from there. So looks like we've got a few people coming on. I see that number is gradually going up, so I'll go ahead and get started just so I don't bore everybody that's on the line. I think I've got plenty to talk about today, but always look forward to seeing all of your comments coming through here. Michelle, hello from New Jersey. Funny story, I used to live in South Orange for a year. Don't really mention it because it went by very quick in my life. But I traveled all up and down New Jersey, so I did get to know that area very, very well. So with all that being said, so today's going to be a wee little bit different of a video. Number one, it's only the 5th time I've ever done a live stream. So I'm still kind of figuring out what are live streams here at the Weekend Cruiser. But it's going to do a few different things. Number one, I am going to talk about the passing of my father. You all know that I am very tenderhearted, I would say, but I think that it does me good to talk about it and to share some of my experiences and some of my thoughts with all of you. And, you know, there have been some impacts to cruising, you know, justifiably so. Like, my schedule's changed a lot, and so I want to walk you all through kind of how that's gone, update you on the 2023 cruising schedule, talk about the group cruise, the amazing group cruise that we just finished up a few weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago now that we did that. And then we're going to do a sneak peek into a Weekend Cruiser website and maybe some merchandise. So I'll talk about some of all those things that are going to come through or that we're going to do. So with that being said, you know, most of the time I would welcome super chats on here. This is one of those videos where, you know what, I'm not looking to get super chats on this video. I would feel poorly if I did that. But what I would like to ask all of you to do, and I'm going to put this on the screen as well, is instead of using super chats and sending me donations or money today, I would ask you to make a contribution to my father's favorite nonprofit group. It is a 501(c)(3) here in North Carolina, and that is to Cry Mission Freedom. So I'm going to put the link for that into the actual comment section. So if you can, you know, see that, would be highly appreciated. Instead of doing super chats today, you know, visit that link and make a contribution in his honor. I'll share with you what that screen actually looks like. So if you go over to Cry Freedom Mission, you will see their website. And the donation page does start out at $20, but if you come down a little bit further and simply click on Yes, I'll Donate, that will allow you to put in whatever amount that you want to, and every little bit would be appreciated. You can read a little bit about their story as well. And so their biggest mission is, you know, to reach, rescue, and restore survivors of human trafficking in North Carolina. This is, again, a huge cause that my father has, and he was very good friends with the lady here, Beverly. So if you would, you have the means and are wanting to, feel free to make a donation to this group. I think that it is a very, very worthy cause. Let me get my other screens pulled back up. I am navigating all these new screens, and I don't have a double screen at this point. All right. So with all that being said, so many of you did see on the community post. I don't know that everybody sees those. So there is a way that we can actually go into YouTube and say, I just want to post like a blurb, like some information, or I can post a picture, some polls, things like that. And I know some of you did see the one that I posted, but my father did pass away about a week and a half ago. And so we had known that he was not doing well and that he was sick. So it wasn't, I'd say, a surprise. We weren't expecting it, but he had a long road in the last month. So I got a call on my South American cruise is where I was. It was New Year's Eve, and he suffered a heart attack and went to the hospital. And so Mom called me while aboard the Celebrity Infinity and let me know that Dad, was, we thought he was, going to make it to that point. We just knew that he had had a heart attack or some issues. And so she called and let me know that they were at the hospital. And I think that this is somewhat of everybody's fear that cruises consistently and we're often on ships, is that something like this could happen while we are gone and we are not able to come back. And it is, one of the reasons that I would actually consider buying insurance on a trip is if somebody else got sick and I needed to come back. But I don't normally purchase insurance. I know there's some annual plans out there. I've never gone with that. But luckily, my father was in stable condition at this point because I did have 5 sea days coming up. We had one of our ports canceled, and so we went into 5 sea days at that time. And hold on, it looks like I am sharing the wrong screen. Here we go. So I just put me back up there. Apologies on sharing Cry Mission Freedom for that period of time. So I did, get back home luckily on January 3rd when the cruise ended, showed up bright and early at 6 a.m. that morning. And then the next day, my father went in to have a stent done. And unfortunately, that catheterization did not go well and got the call that, hey, you might want to come home at this time. And so I boarded a plane and went up to North Carolina as quick as I could get there. I think I got the call at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was at a regional airport in North Carolina at 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. that evening. So very fortunate to be able to get, good flights to get me there. But being in North Carolina, I obviously canceled some cruises. I cruise every single weekend, and I was in North Carolina for about 3 weeks. Me and Mom were staying at the hotel closest to the hospital. And so I wanted to be there to support her. And so it was a no-brainer to me that clearly I am not going on these cruises. I was very, very glad to do that. But because of that, I haven't been able to put out a lot of content on Liberty of the Seas, one of the ships that, I was supposed to be on a lot these days. You all remember that, I felt like I was kind of leaving, my home ship of freedom, switching over to Liberty. And I've not really gone on Liberty but twice at this point. I've got a lot more coming up, so we still will get that content. And I owe, I think, a few more videos from the celebrity sailing in South America. But clearly my schedule, my priorities have tremendously shifted over the last month. And I'm very fortunate to be getting back on track. And so thank you all for allowing me to talk and share this with you. Getting back into YouTube, it's something me and my father shared. It was his idea, actually, that I start a YouTube channel. And so it was difficult for me to jump back on here. So I wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and jump back in with a live, something that, takes a little bit of preparation, but not as much as a full-fledged video. I will be doing those, but I wanted to go ahead and just quickly get back out there. One of the advantages of, I shouldn't say advantages, I don't know what the right phrase is, but one of the hidden blessings that came out of Dad's illness and, being in a hospital for a month is he was actually getting better. So, I did get to a point where I felt like he was doing better and that I could return to South Florida. And this allowed me to go on the group cruise. So the Weekend Cruiser had its inaugural group cruise and we had an amazing time. And this was, a little bit of a blessing for me. And one of my friends said it very, very well, that, being able to leave for that week because I thought Dad was getting into a better spot really allowed me to come back rested and refreshed in order to go through this next phase of his passing. And so that was, a very big gift that I was given, was to be able to take that time away so that I could come back and be there for him in his final day, as well as for my entire family. And so the group cruise, I loved being there. You all are super supportive. And we had a really good time, you guys. We had like 20 people on the inaugural weekend cruise or group cruise, and it was a really, really good time. When you throw 20 people together into, a dining table, into all these different events, you often wonder, how's this going to work out? Is everybody going to get along? Is it going to be a good time? And we all had an amazing time. We were all unique individuals, but we came to the table literally together, and we got along, we mixed and mingled, and we had a really, really good time. Everybody got along really, really well, which, always warms my heart. You all know that I have complimented the followers of the Weekend Cruiser, you all, the audience, for as long as the channel's been around. You are amazing, and to be able to meet all of you in person on the group cruise was really, really refreshing to me to be able to look at these screen names here. But now I'm able to actually know who you are and call you by name, and to call you a true friend because we have met. Now, not that those that I haven't met are true friends on here, but it is really refreshing to be able to meet those people hand in hand. So, I'll go ahead and test the waters here a little bit. So let me know in your comments. This is not official, but I'm already thinking of the next Weekend Cruiser group cruise that we can do. And so my mind is going to a really big group cruise that could come up. So if I think of weekend cruises, the biggest one coming up is going to be the Allure of the Seas on November 3rd. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about going on an Oasis class ship out of Port Canaveral on November 3rd? This will be the inaugural weekend sailing for the Allure of the Seas, and it's going to continue doing 3 and 4 nights after this. And I thought, gosh, if I'm the weekend cruiser, it kind of makes sense for me to be, I don't know, in my mind, it's almost like being the godfather of the Allure of the Seas weekend sailings. We should go there and we should celebrate and be part of that initial weekend cruise that it's going to do and continue to do. It'll also change up the port. You all know that I traditionally sail out of Miami, but I know a lot of you love your Port Canaveral port. And so I would be glad to go up there if we can do this. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about November 3rd on Allure of the Seas? An Oasis class ship is not my personal favorite. You all know that I love my smaller ships, but I think for the inaugural weekend cruise, heck, we got to give it a try, right? We got to go see how that's going to be. So let me know in the comments if that's something you all are going to be interested in. And if not, let me know that too. And I'll look to see what other options are out there. Luckily, we are not hurting for cruise options these days. So if that is not your cup of tea, let me know that in the comments as well. So, while my father was in the hospital, I wanted to run all this by you as well. There were times that I just needed to stay busy. I just needed to occupy my mind. He was in ICU for about 2.5 weeks, where he was vented, non-responsive. And, we sat there every single day for 12 to 13 hours with him. And luckily, I did have my laptop with me because I needed busy work of some kind. I needed to just sit down and do something. And so with that, I was busy, trying to improve the Weekend Cruiser. Definitely not in the mood to create content, but there were some other things that I was trying to do while we were staying at the hospital to make this a really, a good time, or this is my fun side job, or this is my hobby, if you will. And so I like coming on here, and it is a great distraction for me, but wanted to share with you all a website that I put together. So I have put together a Weekend Cruiser website, and so I want to show that to you all just to get your initial thoughts on it. And then I'll come back and take a look at the comments. In this new tool, it looks like those may be a little bit delayed. I know that there is a lag from when I'm talking to when you are seeing things, but I will check those a little bit more, and I'm going to post the comment or the link to Cry Mission one more time if you all do want to make a donation to that. So let's share the screen. of the Weekend Cruiser. And I'm going to make that prior. Actually, I think I can do it this way so you can see me and it. Oh, that's really small. Can I make that bigger? No, it doesn't look like it. All right. So here is the Weekend Cruiser website. I am not a website designer, but I found a pretty cool tool online that gave me enough of a leadway to be able to figure out what this needed to look like. And so it is primarily, it is going to be a merchandise store, but it's also going to give a little bit of information about me and potentially upcoming group cruises. So when you see it, you've got at the top, the home, shop, some pictures. You've got an about section. You've got all the different links over here to the other social media that I'm on. So I don't know if most of you all even know, but I have an Instagram account that I love posting to. I use that one probably the most after I use YouTube. There's a Facebook group that you can join for the Weekend Cruiser Facebook page. And there's also a TikTok account where I do a little bit more fun, quick hits versus on YouTube. You're seeing, more of those 7 to 10 minute kind of videos that are very educational in nature. So if I come here, and I'm just going to scroll down quickly just to show you another picture, put up a little blurb about myself. And I've got a mailing list here. You can sign up for that. I'm not really sure what I'm going to use it for yet. I think that I'll probably use it just to talk to those folks that are coming on group cruises, interested on group cruises, or have come on a group cruise to communicate out to everybody. But if you have any ideas on that, let me know that in the comments as well. But if I come to shop now, this is the part that I am really excited about, is we have some Weekend Cruiser merch. Now this website is theweekendcruiser.com, but it is password protected right now. So if you went to it, you can't actually get into it. So this is definitely a sneak peek. It is not a live website at this time. But some of the really neat things on here, and I'm going to do a full video, maybe even another live, well, I'll do like a home shopping network kind of situation with all the different products, because I do have sample of these at my home that I've had sent while I've been here in North Carolina. The magnet is a really cool it's just a really neat magnet, the way that it turned out. You've got the polo shirt, the official Weekend Cruiser t-shirt. And so you see that there's two kind of designs that I've gone with here. And this is where I would really love your feedback on it. I might should put this in the Facebook page as well to see if everybody can vote on it. But there's two different designs. If you look at the screen, you see the one with the face as well as Weekend Cruiser on the bottom of it. And there's going to be nothing on the back of that. But if I come over here to the t-shirt down below, and I'm going to do, hopefully this will load for us. There we go. It's got, Weekend Cruiser on the front of it. But then when you go to the back, it's got the logo of the Weekend Cruiser. I don't know if you all have noticed that. I started using it a little bit ago, but a good friend of mine helped me get a designer to actually put this together, and I think that it looks really, really cool. But that's one option. Whoop, went too far back. All right, so I'm still learning how to use my website. The sharing button might be on top of it, so I'm going to click the back button, go back to shop. But let me know which one of the patterns if you like the best. The hoodie as well as one where you've got the logo of the Weekend Cruiser on the front, or the words of the Weekend Cruiser on the front. And then on the back side, when it loads, I know streaming this site might not be popping up as good, you're going to have the logo, the image or the caricature of the Weekend Cruiser. All right, so it's not liking me right now, but there's some neat little stuff up here. You've got the teddy bear, you've got a trucker hat, and I will say that I went back and forth on the design of these swimsuits. So I went with a very small design on these where you can see my face, and then Weekend Cruiser on the side of it. And then I went for, the two that you see here and the red one up in the top that are just purely obnoxious. I think that they are obnoxiously funny, and so I left them on there just in case anybody would want to do that. But I thought that it was just really, really funny. We've got some female or women's clothing as well down here. So let me know again what you think of the combination of putting the logo or the caricature up on the front of somebody's shirt and then the Weekend Cruiser below it, or if you like just the Weekend Cruiser on the front and then the logo or the caricature on the back. And for those people that love your bottled drinks, we've got some of those, and towels and bags. So again, this is not me pushing merchandise at this point, but I wanted to at least, get you all's thoughts on what you like and what you don't like. And I think I just showed somebody's, okay. So, hard to see images through the video. Oh, and that's a shame that it's not coming through, but thank you for letting me know that, Nancy. All right, so let me get my notes back up. So that is one of the big things that I've been working on, and I can't tell you, I don't think I knew exactly how much work it was going to be to build out a merch store. So everybody was telling me, oh, you need merch, you need merch. So I went through and I made merch. I came up with the logo, got it all done on this print-on-demand service. And then from there, did you know you have to then create a website to be able to sell that product or those products? So I created the website. And then I learned that, oh wait, I need a way to accept payments. So I had to go through and figure out, how do I accept payments for these things? Because, you know, I unfortunately am not of the mindset that I can give them out for free. I don't have the wealth to do that, though I'm sure that I'll be taking some of these on cruises to hand out to people as I see them. And then I found out that I need to also pay taxes. I have to collect and pay sales taxes where I have this thing called Nexus in certain states. So I now have a system and a tool as well to track my Nexus and where all that is coming in and where I need to remit taxes. So it has been quite the bear just getting this one concept of I just wanted to sell t-shirts. It turned into a huge kind of deal. So Nancy, the website for the Weekend Cruiser, it's still a private website. It is not live just yet, though I hopefully will be turning that live very soon, but it will be theweekendcruiser.com. Weekend Cruiser itself was going for like $1,200 now, which I don't understand, but the weekendcruiser.com was $19.99. So I went with the longer form version, which I think will work out very, very well. So with that, my next cruise is coming up. So this is one where, when is the right time to go back on a cruise after, you know, you have loss or there's tragedy? For me personally, that's going to be this Friday. That is my life. My normal is cruising every weekend. And I've taken what I consider to be enough time off for me. Everybody's ability to get back out there, to jump back out there, is going to be different. And so I'm going to talk to that in another video that I have scripted. But for me, I feel like I'm ready to get back out there and know that I would have my father's support with that, because he was so instrumental in, you know, supporting me through my cruising journey, as well as, you know, the YouTube channel, The Weekend Cruiser. And so I'm going to be going on the Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady once again. So this will be my second time on Virgin Voyage. So I am very excited to check them out once again. So as you all know, I went, I think it was in soon after the startup, and they were sailing at like 30% capacity. These days I hear that that is a much different experience, that it is sailing at full capacity. And so I'm really curious to see how their ship has grown with the capacity. There's always some growing pains when you are a brand new cruise line or a brand new business in general. And I'm very curious to see how they're doing now. I've talked with some of my friends that have been there, and it seems like there's been some pain points. And so I want to get in there, investigate, see how they're doing on Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. It's also going to take me over to Puerto Plata, which I have not been to yet. It'll be my first time actually going there. So I'm excited to check out a brand new port, get back on the Scarlet Lady. You all know that one of my biggest issues was I didn't know how to navigate this ship. I didn't know where to go. I just keep walking into dead ends. So now that I'm going back after being there, I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to know about where I'm going on this ship, get around a lot better. And I'm hoping with a lot more people on it, even though the pool deck is probably going to be immensely crowded on the sea days that we're going to have. I'm really excited to see the entertainment, the Scarlet Nights, see all that energy. So when you have those shows, you want that energy in the room with a full house. Because if you go to a comedian show, for instance, or a comic show, and there's 5 people there, it loses that energy, and the people on the stage can't feed into it. And so I'm really excited to see what it's going to be like with a full house. By the way, a side note, you all know that I love supporting the singers and dancers on Royal Caribbean, or wherever I go for that matter, the ice skating team. Clap, holler. If you think that they did something that is fantastic, make sure that you are applauding and you're saying to them, good job, because that will have them giving you an even better show. So if you want to make sure that you see the best show when you go to a singers and dancers or ice skating performance, make sure that you are clapping and letting them know that they did something really awesome. My trigger on for ice skating shows is if they did something on those ice that I would never even dream of doing in my life, I'm going to be clapping for them. So I love to think that I'm the one who's starting the clapping, because I do it very frequently. But I think a huge shout out to those folks. They have practiced and dedicated their lives to giving us really good entertainment. And so I want to make sure that we are showing our appreciation to that group. All right, so with that, let me go through and, oh, hold on. Yeah. So my mom just walked into the room. Hi, Mom. And was showing me that I was still showing the old screen of the merchandise store. So definitely some issues that I need to work through. So thank you, Mom. On this new platform, I got to remember to turn off that screen sharing button. I can see me in this bottom corner, and it's just got to look in that other corner. I will tell her you said hello, Nancy. Glad she's downstairs watching as well. So let me go through and check out some of these comments and see how everybody is doing. Thank you, Katie. Greatly appreciated. And once again, that reminds me, if you do want to support the channel today, please do not do that. Normally, I would welcome super chats, but today, if you want to make a donation over to Cry Freedom Mission, that would be a wonderful thing that you could do, and I'll post that link once again so everybody can find that. And you're right, Nancy. I've looked at some of the annual travel policies that are out there. They're not really that expensive. I do have one annual travel policy for my personal health. So if I am traveling somewhere and I need to be medevaced or I need to get out of there for a medical reason, I pay for that through the carrier. But I didn't, I looked at some that just had all these bells and whistles on it of lost luggage, trip delay, trip cancellation, and I probably could have used them in this last month. It might have actually come in handy, but with the number of cruises I go on, I kind of just see myself being like, I'm not going to submit it. Like, it happens. So I don't know that I would actually submit the number of times that I actually could. Greg, thank you for your comments. This is something else neat that I can do on this new system is I can show people's comments when they make it. So Greg was on the weekend cruise with us, so thank you for coming. We really and truly did have an awesome time on there. Craig, thank you for discovering the channel. Oh, and I am sorry to hear that you have lost a loved one as well. But I will tell you that going on a cruise is one of the best things that I have seen people do. And one of the reasons that I am comfortable getting back out there after my father's passing is that, I have met so many people on cruise ships that have lost a loved one, that they used to cruise with, a significant other, a partner, wife, husband, maybe his best friend or sister. And, they still want to go on cruises to honor the legacy of that person. And so when the timing is right, I would encourage you to do that. Please, I would say to everybody, don't go too soon for you. Ships are not a place that you want to be if, you're sad or not in a good spot. You want to make sure that if you go on a cruise, you're going to be able to enjoy that. You're going to be able to meet some people if you want to. You can also go on a cruise and not meet anyone. I've had a few of those where I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to talk to anybody. So it is up to you to make that experience what you want to make of it. But I think that going on a cruise after the passing of a loved one is a great thing to do. Dewey, love that you already have November 3rd tentatively booked. So I will keep you posted if this becomes reality. Hopefully it will. And Ken, looks like is October to December. I'm curious what you do I guess it's end of year routines, has you being extremely busy there. But hopefully we can make it. Michelle, the cruise does sound very interesting. The only reason I hesitate, especially on such a large ship for weekend sailing for a group, and we saw this a little bit on the last one, it goes by like that. In a blink of an eye, you are on the ship and then you are back home on Monday morning. And so I want to make sure that if there's a group cruise, I have plenty of time to get to know all of you, to be able to hang out with you and not feel as rushed. Sometimes that definitely happens on these very short cruises. When you're trying to hang out with people, it just goes by so terribly quick. Nancy, I'm going to agree with your comment here. I think that I am going to like it more this second time around. If nothing else, and I don't know if you all remember the video that I made where I talked about the, what did I call it? The reasons why I missed Royal Caribbean. So that's where I go to. I feel special on Royal Caribbean with the pinnacle benefits that I get. Virgin Voyages has now started their very own loyalty program, and it's still a little gray on what exactly that program is, but what I can tell you is that it addresses a lot of the concerns I had with why I missed Royal Caribbean and why I did not feel as special on Virgin. And it was completely nitpicky. They were small things, but like I was paying $8 for coffee every day for my, excuse me, for my specialty coffees where I get my iced Americano with an extra shot. And now they're going to give me a $10 coffee credit, which is fantastic. So that's going to take away just one very small pain point. Again, if I'm on a very expensive cruise, it's kind of okay if I need to pay the extra $8, but if I don't have to, that is just a very small thing that they're going to start doing that is going to make me feel much better about going on the Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. Let's see, what other ones we've got. Hey, Greg, hope you are enjoying San Francisco these days. So, Global Vagabond, great question on medical insurance. So I actually did wind up getting my annual policy for medical evacuations if I get sick, all that great stuff, after COVID. So before that, I was kind of traveling without any insurance policy. And as you all know, and probably a lot of you found the channel when I did get COVID on a cruise ship. Luckily, very mild case, so I did not need to be evacuated from Freedom of the Seas due to COVID. But it did open my eyes to, you know what, things can go bump in the night. Let me purchase a policy. And so I did find that medical policy only. That was a really reasonable price, and it covers the entire year. And it does include viruses such as COVID, which I made sure was part of that. So I'm not really purchasing differently these days, but those are the things that I considered when I purchased it the first go round. Brent, thank you so much. And I think that, that would be a very fitting tribute to Doug there, Craig. So if you can make it back on, maybe the group cruise might be a good option where you can come and mix and mingle with a lot of other solo travelers. So that is one thing that I think a lot of people like this channel because they see me putting myself out there, going on all these solo cruises, and it's a bit of a safe space because to me, it's very empowering, and I am definitely an advocate of going on a cruise by yourself. But if you want to ease into that, for instance, you can go by yourself and then meet up with a group of folks that are already on there so that you still have a support network, things to do with others. And the biggest concern that I hear from people going on a solo cruise for the first time, and this was one of mine, was where do I eat at? Can I eat in the dining room? Am I at a table by myself? Am I with other people? And there's no right or wrong answer to what you're going to like to do. There are some cruises that I like to sit by myself and talk to absolutely nobody. I just play on my phone, maybe respond to YouTube comments while I'm in the main dining room. And there's other times where I ask to be sat at a 10 top table or a table for 10 so that I can meet some other people on the cruise ship. So, and that can be changed every single night with the maitre d', but as soon as you get on the trip, if you are considering going on a solo cruise, make sure you're going straight to the main dining room, checking with the maitre d' on where you are sitting. And, if you want to be at a smaller table or at a larger table, that'll be the time that you can request a seat change, and they're always more than glad to accommodate. And Chris, you know what? I honestly had not even thought about the Super Bowl tonight. Normally, I'm on a cruise ship for it, so I'm watching it from the Star Lounge, from the pool deck, or from Playmakers. This is probably the first, COVID aside, this is probably the first year in 4 years that I have missed watching the Super Bowl on an actual ship. And honestly, with everything that's been going on in my life, we are not, excuse me, watching the Super Bowl tonight. I don't even know what time it comes on. I don't know who's in it. I've not watched TV in probably a solid month and a half at this point, maybe 2 months, because I don't think that I'd watched it before I went down to South America. But that is, I probably should have done this earlier in thinking through that, but who knew? Who knew? Dewey, I'm kind of in your camp with, is there a game today? I have no idea whatsoever. All right, so nothing else on my agenda. I went through everything that I wanted to talk about. If there are any questions, I will open it up to you all to leave those in the comment. Glad to chat about anything that you may want to. If there's something that I can help with, or you just want some feedback or advice on, I would be glad to do a quick Q&A on what do you want to know about, whether it's weekend cruising, longer cruises. Me personally, I try to be an open book over here. So let me know in the comments if you do have any questions, and glad to chime in and see if I can help out any. As you can see, probably football questions are not going to be the best ones for me. I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't even know what the commercials are, though I think they were like previewing some of those earlier in the morning on the morning shows, but I have no idea even on what the commercials are going to be this year. Nancy, it is great seeing you as well. So if anybody does ever come through Miami and I am free and I am actually at home for a change, always glad to meet up. Say a quick hello. I live very close to the cruise ship, so I've got to do a video one of these days showing you all where I live now. So I did move down to Miami so that I can look at the cruise ships, and I know that that's probably taking, cruise addiction, let's call it, to a whole nother level, but the views are incredible. I've hesitated to do that video because I just don't want it to come across as boastful or me bragging about where I live, because I think that it's pretty awesome. Some of you may look at it and go, oh, wow, it's a slum. And others of you may look at it and go, wow, that's extreme. I'm very proud of it. And I don't want it to come across as me, bragging or saying, oh, look at me. But I think a lot of you that I've heard, especially on the group cruise, would be very proud of that location that I have found for myself to live, and could live vicariously a little bit through me. So I'll find a way to present that in hopefully a non-braggadocious way, to get it out there. And Nancy, it absolutely shows my commitment to cruising. I wish that I could walk to the cruise ship. I can walk to Terminal G. Now, if I'm going on one of the smaller Royal ships or even Virgin Voyages, I'll be able to walk there on Friday. Even years ago, when I was flying down from Boston, we were using Terminal G, or the tent, as a lot of people will call it, because it's got the little circus tent things on the top of it. I would walk over to Bayside to grab lunch on turnaround days when I was doing back-to-backs. And it is not that far, and that bridge is actually really easy to cross over if you're on that side of the cruise port. Terminal A, though, is a haul. I don't know if you all have been there recently, but they've got construction going everywhere, so much so that Royal is even sending out emails going, hey, by the way, they got construction going on over here. There's no sidewalks, no way to get it, and I think it's an additional mile further down the road to get to Terminal A. So I don't think me and my rollerboard suitcase want to go quite that far to get there, so I'll probably still take a taxi. I did threaten to purchase a golf cart to leave at the condo to specifically drive back and forth to the cruise terminal, but then I was like, they're still probably going to wind up charging me the $28 per day to park the golf cart there, and so it's just not quite worth it at that point. Chris, very glad to hear you all are becoming cruise nerds and that you share that with me. I am certainly a cruise nerd. I keep joking with people too that I need to make flashcards. When I think of nerd, I think of, smart people that know all the facts about Royal Caribbean, if you will. And there are a lot of wonderful people out there. I am not the best with all those. When was it built? What was the capacity? What class is it in? Class I can, for the most part, get. But some of those other details, I would really love to be able to just rattle them off. So I need to make some flashcards at some point, and just study up on all my cruise ships. I think that'll be the only way that I can do it, because it hasn't quite all kicked in just yet. So Craig, I am by Port Miami. So if you know where Bayside Marketplace is, I am directly across the street from that in one of the high rises now. And so I do love it. The Allure of the Seas, if we did that as our group cruise on November 3rd, would be out of Port Canaveral. And so that's a little bit different. The commute, interestingly, so I booked a lot of Liberty of the Seas. When I was living in Fort Lauderdale, I didn't know that I was going to find a place that I wanted to buy. And so I booked a lot of Liberty's weekend cruises out of Fort Lauderdale, thinking that it'll be 10 times easier of a commute than going all the way down to Miami. And sure enough, I wind up moving before the first cruise starts, and now I'm commuting north to get to Port Everglades. But interestingly, it is shorter still than I was commuting from, let's say, northern Fort Lauderdale, Oakland Park area, if you all know it, down to Miami. And this is still a much shorter and easier commute because it's on the south side of Fort Lauderdale. So it's still not quite as bad. And that cruise port to me is, the Port Everglades was initially a cargo cruise terminal. And so it was then built or modified, if you will, for cruise passenger vessels. It wasn't set out to be, for us guests. Port Miami, on the other hand, yeah, you got to deal with Miami traffic, which can be a nightmare on I-95. But once you get to the port itself, it works just like an airport, and it's designed to get people in and get people out. So I am a big fan of navigating Port Miami 10 times better than I am Port Everglades. So Ginger, thank you. I'd like to think that I'm, more exciting than football, but I know that is not always the case. If you are coming to Freedom of the Seas 2024, I think you mean here, I actually don't have any planned at this point. I am confident that I'm going to be there. But what I will say, and I don't know if you all have seen this on the schedule or not, but if you want to do a weekend sailing on Freedom of the Seas, you need to jump on that in early to mid 2024 because towards the end of the year, we're losing our Freedom. So Freedom is going to be going to another destination. I don't know where it's going. I didn't necessarily care. I just knew that they're taking her away from me at the end of 2024 next year. So if you want to go on the Freedom of the Seas for a weekend sailing, you do have a little bit limited of a window at this point before she goes to her next home port. They have not announced who our new ship is going to be yet. I've got my guesses on what they may put in Miami to do the 3 and 4 night sailings, the weekend cruise and the midweek cruise, but they have not announced that yet. So fingers crossed it's a Freedom class. That would be ideal, but I don't think that that's what they're going to do. But more to come on that. I don't have any insider information. I just have some things up here in my brain that I am thinking through. So, James, great question on single supplement for Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean, I would say, probably offers the least amount of single supplement discounts in the industry that I have seen, at least. What they do offer, and this is for those people that have already given them a lot of money, is once you hit 340 cruise points in the Crown and Anchor Society, they're going to have a 150% single supplement discount outside of the months of August and July. So it's not going to work in peak season, but they will only charge you 50% of that single supplement. So instead of paying for a full 2 people when you're only 1 person in the room, you're going to pay for 1.5 people. There are other cruise lines that offer a lot more single supplement discounts, where I feel like that pops up in their advertising and marketing more so. MSC is a really good one to consider if you're looking at doing a single supplement cruise. I think Celebrity just announced that they're also doing some as well. They offered it towards the end of last year. I think it was like a November, December thing, but you still can find some on Celebrity where single supplement is not going to be assessed. And if you want to go to really high-end cruise lines, so if you already want to pay $10,000 for the week, they traditionally do not charge you for the single supplement. That is still very cost prohibitive for even me. So I don't recommend that unless you just can afford it already, and then you're going to have probably a really wonderful time. But those ships are very, very pricey. Stay tuned to the websites, the advertising. That's the best thing that I can say. Royal Caribbean is not the best. They've got some studio rooms on Royal Caribbean, but they still sell based on supply and demand. So if they have 10 rooms on the ship and they sell 5 of them, the algorithm for pricing they use says that, oh, this one's selling really good, so we need to up the price. And often the studio rooms, you all, cost more than a traditional inside or balcony cabin. So make sure that if you're looking at those studio rooms, you are price comparing it to what is the next option of like an inside cabin. And you'd also get double cruise points to help get you to that 340 magic number to get the discounts. So hope that helps, James. Adventure of the Seas is an amazing cruise ship. So even when I don't know if I was in Fort Lauderdale at this time, but I remember when Adventure of the Seas got its slides on the back of it. It was the first ship in the fleet, I believe, again, not good with all the knowledge there, to get slides. And I walked over the bridge from Bayside, where I parked at, over to the cruise port to look at Adventure of the Seas parked in Terminal G in Miami to celebrate its new slides. That was a really big deal back then. So the Global Vagabond. So you're asking about the Peloton bikes on Celebrity. So interestingly, I also have a Peloton. So if I ever do a live stream from home, you might be able to see that sitting behind me unless I just move it out of the way for to make the shot look a little bit better. They do have bikes on Celebrity Infinity. They had 4, which I was really impressed with that number. And they were actually really popular, so much so that they had a sign-up sheet that they had to start for it. I think on most of the ships, you can just walk in and find it. But they were often people using those. You know, most people will do like a 45-minute, 60-minute class. But they do have them, and you can sign up for time slots for it. I never know how the resistance is going to be, and I did not use them. If it's going to be the same, I feel like when I go bike to bike, sometimes the resistance is different. So just keep that in mind when you go there. It may skew the numbers on your bike because it's just going to be a little bit different. So Craig is talking about vacations to go here. So James, this comment is kind of for you as well on solo cruising. So it is a place that will tell you about the single supplement, or they do the best job for it. I personally do not book through vacations to go. I do use an individual travel agent, but what I do use vacations to go for, and I use them pretty frequently, they have the best search functionality in the cruise line industry. So there is no other place that I know of. If you all know of a place, let me know in the comments how you search for different cruises. But if I'm searching across, let's say I've got an open weekend in 2024, and I know that on that date, I want to go on a weekend cruise, or I got time and I want to see what all the weekend cruise options are, vacationstogo.com is the place that I will go to start that, because it aggregates all of the cruises in from various cruise lines. There are some cruise lines that are not in there. I think, is it Virgin that they don't have? No, they maybe have Scarlet Lady. I feel like there's one that they don't have. Or maybe that's Kayak doesn't have Southwest.com. Anyway, but it is an aggregate of all of the search features across the lines, and I think that that is the one that I really like the most. Even though I don't book through them, it works out really, really good. Brent, that 340 when you get to it, I mean, it is amazing at how much that's going to save you in money, especially if you like Royal Caribbean. You found a line that you really, really like and you want to stick with it. It will save you tremendously. I used to tell people, like, that was one of the biggest reasons why I stuck with Royal Caribbean, was because of the 340 discount, because it literally saves somebody like me thousands of dollars in purchasing of cruises. So once you get there, here's something that you do need to know. When you call in and tell them you are a Diamond Plus at 340 points, they need to use a specific code to give you the discount. Because, you know, Royal's technology, as much as we love Royal, isn't always the best. So the computer doesn't know that at Diamond Plus, that you are a different Diamond Plus than the other Diamond Plus. It is just Diamond Plus. Whether you're 340 or not, it's that Diamond Plus. They need to use a discount code that is DP, Diamond Plus, 340. And that is one word, altogether lowercase, when they are booking your cruise. Or if somebody, you know, if you have a travel agent and they're not familiar with it, it is going to be the, I don't know if it's discount code, coupon code, whatever they call it, but they're going to want to enter that into Cruising Power, the travel agent website, to get you that discount. Once you then move on and hit Pinnacle, it's going to know that all Pinnacles get that discount, and you will not need to enter in a code to get your pricing adjusted. But if you are a Diamond Plus member above 340, you will need to enter that code DP340. Chris, thank you for verifying. So I was trying to remember, I still think that there's one that's not included in vacations to go that I have to manually go in and check. But anyway, version is luckily in there. So if you want to check it out, it is a great place to see what all your options are, especially if you know the date of when you want to go, or if you want to sort by price throughout all the lines, vacations to go is a really, really good spot for that. All right, so with that, everyone, I think we will call it a day here. So once again, I'm going to put up here the link to Cry Freedom Missions. If you want to make a donation there, it would be greatly appreciated. I know my father would greatly appreciate that as well. This was a cause that meant so much to him. So thank you for holding on to those super chats today, not sending those my way, but instead going over to Cry Freedom Mission to make a donation on their page. All right, everyone, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a Weekend Cruise soon.